Picture this. It's 1954. Game 1 of the World Series at the Polo Grounds. Vic Wertz crushes a shot to the deepest part of center field, 460 feet from home plate. It looks like a surefire triple, but somehow, impossibly, Willie Mays is there. Sprinting full speed with his back to the plate, he makes an over-the-shoulder catch that seems to defy physics. Then, without missing a beat, he spins and fires a perfect strike back to the infield. The crowd erupts. Even Wirtz tips his cap. This wasn't just the catch. This was Willie Mays announcing to the world that baseball had never seen anything like him before, and never would. Sure, another greatest of all time argument, but Willie Mays isn't just another great player. He's the guy who could literally do everything at an elite level. And I mean everything. Power, he had it. Speed, better than anyone. Defense that made highlight reels before highlight reels were even a thing? Absolutely. Willie Mays wasn't just great. He was the perfect baseball player. And the unique combination of talent, timing, and circumstances that create him, it's something we'll never see again. Willie Howard Mays was born on May 6, 1931 in Westfield, Alabama. Like many legends, his baseball journey started early, but his path was uniquely difficult. His father, Cap Mays, played semi-pro ball in the Industrial League, and young Willie inherited not only his athleticism, but his passion. Growing up in segregated Alabama, Willie faced racial barriers that could have derailed his dreams. But even as a teenager, playing for the Birmingham Black Barons in the Negro Leagues, it was clear he was extraordinary. Scouts described him as a player who could do everything at a level they'd never seen before. Here's where Willie's story becomes even bigger than baseball. When the New York Giants signed him in 1950, he became one of the first black players to integrate into Major League Baseball after Jackie Robinson. But Willie faced pressures few could imagine. He wasn't just representing himself or his team, he was carrying the hopes of an entire community. The racism was brutal. He received death threats, he was denied hotel rooms, refused service at restaurants, all while trying to play the game he loved. Even when fans in New York turned on him during a rough rookie stretch, Giants manager Dio LaRocca stood by him, saying, "I don't care if the kid goes 0 for 50. He's my center fielder." And about that rookie year, this is a story you'll never see repeated. Willie started his big league career 0 for 12. Devastating. He called his father crying, unsure if he belonged. But instead of collapsing under the pressure, he caught fire. He ended that season hitting .274 with 20 home runs and 1 Rookie of the Year. Think about that. From 0 for 12 and total self-doubt to being the best first-year player in the league. That kind of resilience? That's something special. Now, let's talk about why Willie Mays was the most complete player the game has ever seen. Baseball scouts talk about the 5 tools: hitting for average, hitting for power, speed, fielding ability, and arm strength. Most great players excel in 2 or 3. Willie was elite in all 5. He hit .302 over a 22-year career, remarkably consistent over more than 2 decades. He crushed 660 home runs, second only to Babe Ruth when he retired. He wasn't just a slugger either. He was the first player to hit 50 home runs and steal 20 bases in the same season, and he did it twice. His speed wasn't just about stealing bases, though he swiped 338 of them. It was about how he stretched singles into doubles, turned doubles into triples, and covered impossible ground in center field. His defense? 12 gold gloves tell part of the story, but the truth is, he changed how center field was played. And his arm? So feared that base coaches would literally wave off runners rather than challenge him. But to really understand Willie's dominance, you need to look at his peak seasons, and they're absolutely mind-blowing. Take 1954, his breakout year. Willie hit .345 with 41 home runs and 110 RBIs, leading the Giants to their first World Series championship since moving to New York. But here's the kicker. He also led the league in triples with 13 and stole 8 bases. That's power, speed, and contact hitting all in one package. Oh, and that was the year of the catch in the World Series. Not bad for a 23-year-old. Then there's 1955, when he became the first player ever to hit 50 home runs and steal 20 bases in the same season. Think about that combination. You're talking about a player who could clear the fence from anywhere in the ballpark, but was also fast enough to swipe second base when you least expected it. This wasn't just rare, it was revolutionary. But maybe his most complete season was 1965, when he was 34 years old. Most players are declining by then, but Willie hit 52 home runs, his career high, drove in 112 runs, and still managed to steal 9 bases. He was doing things at 34 that most players can't do in their prime. That season, he finished second in MVP voting, and many argue he should have won it. Here's what makes these numbers even more incredible. Willie was doing this while playing elite defense in center field every single day. Modern players who hit 50 home runs are usually designated hitters or first basemen. Willie was covering more ground than anyone in baseball while launching rockets over the fence. But the real magic of Willie Mays was his consistency. From 1954 to 1966, a span of 13 seasons, he never finished lower than 4th in MVP voting. Let that sink in. For over a decade, he wasn't just one of the best. He was always among the top 4 players in the entire league. He adapted to different styles of play across eras. He dominated the dead ball 1950s, thrived during the pitcher-dominated 1960s, and was still productive in the early 1970s, when the game was shifting again. That kind of longevity across so many changes in the sport is almost unheard of. Willie Mays put up numbers that will likely never be seen again. He was selected to 24 All-Star games. Yes, there were 2 games per season at one point, but it still shows how long he remained at the top of the sport. He hit 40 or more home runs in 6 different seasons while playing elite defense in center field. He had 150 or more hits in 13 straight seasons. He scored 100 or more runs 12 years in a row. He's the only player to hit 50 home runs in both the quirky Polo Grounds and the swirling winds of Candlestick Park, showing how he adapted to completely different ballparks. But here's the stat that really stops you in your tracks. Willie Mays is the only player ever to have both 600 home runs and 300 stolen bases. That rare blend of power and speed, no one else in history has done it. And the mic drop number? His career WAR, wins above replacement, finished at 156.2. That's the highest ever for a center fielder and ranks 3rd all-time among all position players, behind only Babe Ruth and Barry Bonds. Over a century of baseball, and Willie Mays is still near the very top. So, what separated Willie Mays from every other great player in history? It wasn't just the fact that he was good at everything, it's that he was the best at things that seemed impossible to combine. Let's start with Babe Ruth, the usual answer for greatest ever. Ruth revolutionized hitting and was the most dominant offensive force baseball has ever seen. Babe Ruth played right field, not center, and his speed and defense were never elite. Ruth changed how the game was played, but he couldn't do what Willie did defensively. Then there's Hank Aaron, Willie's contemporary and the man who broke Ruth's home run record. Aaron was incredibly consistent, had tremendous power, and faced many of the same racial challenges Willie did. But Aaron wasn't the defender Willie was, and he wasn't the base stealer Willie was. Aaron was more consistent over time, but Willie's peak was higher. Mickey Mantle might be the closest comparison. Incredible power from both sides of the plate, blazing speed, and he played center field. But Mantle's career was cut short by injuries, and he was never the defensive player Willie was. Mantle had more raw power, but Willie had longevity and consistency that Mantle couldn't match. Here's the thing that really sets Willie apart. He excelled at skills that usually cancel each other out. Power hitters typically aren't great base stealers because they're built differently. Speedsters usually aren't home run hitters because they don't have the size. Elite defenders often sacrifice offensive production because they focus on their glove work. Willie was elite at all of these things simultaneously. And there's something else. Willie played his entire career in pitcher-friendly ballparks. The Polo Grounds had those weird dimensions, and Candlestick Park was notorious for killing offense with its cold, swirling winds. Imagine what his numbers would have looked like in hitter-friendly parks like Fenway or Yankee Stadium. But maybe what made Willie most different was his approach to the game. He played with joy and excitement in an era where that wasn't always accepted, especially for black players. He made spectacular plays look effortless and routine plays look spectacular. He didn't just play baseball. He performed it. That combination of elite skill and infectious enthusiasm, that's what made Willie Mays truly one of a kind. Willie Mays wasn't just a great baseball player. He was a cultural icon. His joyful, energetic style of play helped shift how America viewed both baseball and black athletes. His signature "say hey" greeting, his famous basket catch, and the way his cap flew off when he ran the bases made him instantly recognizable and universally loved. At a time when black athletes were often expected to be stoic and restrained, Willie played with joy, and that was revolutionary. He didn't just play the game, he made it fun. So, why will there never be another Willie Mays? It's not just about his numbers, though they're untouchable. It's about what had to come together to create him. He played in an era that demanded versatility, not specialization. He broke into the game during a cultural revolution that required not just athletic greatness, but immense personal strength. He had the perfect mix of raw talent, opportunity, and mental toughness. Today's game's different. Players are hyper-specialized. Teams focus on analytics, matchups, and efficiency. The game no longer rewards the five-tool player the way it once did. But Willie played it in a time when you had to do it all, and he did it all better than anyone ever has. Willie Mays didn't just play baseball. He elevated it. He proved you could be the best in the world and still play with heart, soul, and joy. He showed that excellence and enthusiasm weren't mutually exclusive. When people argue about the greatest player of all time, the conversation often starts with Babe Ruth. But Willie Mays belongs in that same conversation because, unlike Ruth, he could run, throw, and defend at an elite level in addition to hitting. He could do everything. There's only one Willie Mays, the say hey kid, the player who could do it all and made it all look effortless. In a sport obsessed with numbers and records, maybe his greatest legacy is that he made the game fun. And if you're still not sure, ask yourself this: how many players in history can you instantly recognize just by watching their cap fly off when they're rounding the bases? The answer is one: Willie Howard Mays. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and drop a comment to let us know who you want to hear about next. And don't forget to subscribe for more legendary baseball stories every week. This is Inside Baseball, where we bring you the best of the game.